and we started with Norma. Norma is going to talk about criminal justice.
Good morning, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. I kind of have a contractor at my house, so that's why I'm kind of fading in and out. Didn't expect him to come right at the time that this meeting starts. But criminal justice, as you all know, that over the past couple of years, the issues around policing in our area has become a very prominent issue for us. And fortunately for us, when the League of Women Voters of California hosted its convention in Sacramento just over a couple years ago, this issue was raised back then. And with that, there were a group of people who commenced to actually study whether or not the League of Women Voters of California should have a criminal justice position. After 2 years of study with the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County was actually represented on that statewide committee and was very much a part of getting the statewide position on criminal justice approved at the convention, adopted at the convention. We also, from our programming committee standpoint, adopted a criminal justice position as well. So our activities around criminal justice reform started as a committee back in August of last year. It was during that time that Governor Newsom also signed Assembly Bill 392, which is also known as the Stephon Clark Law or the California Act to Save Lives. And so with that, our first meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee started in August of last year. With the issues around the Stephon Clark Law, the use of force law that was adopted and signed by the governor, AB 392, we thought that we would start with policing as our area of emphasis for the Criminal Justice Committee. We thought that it was going to be a fairly simple thing to verify that the city of Sacramento was in compliance with the use of force law. But after attending the first Sacramento Community Police Review Commission meeting, we saw that there were some serious issues there. And so part of our tools, the main tool that we have used for researching and evaluating the state of policing in Sacramento and city of Sacramento, as well as Sacramento County, has been Observer Corps. We established as Observer Corps that initially focused on the Sacramento Community Police Review Commission and the Board of Supervisors, of which Brenda has spoke about those two. Then, given some of the issues that we observed with the Sacramento Community Police Review Commission and how ineffective, or I'll say how there could be some areas for improvements in terms of their interactions with the mayor and city council, as well as the Sacramento Police Department, we had to actually expand the scope of what we had initially started out doing, which actually resulted in an extensive amount of work in terms of talking with community stakeholders about policing in Sacramento, including members of the Sacramento Police Department. We invited guest speakers to our meetings so that we would understand more about community engagement around this issue of policing in Sacramento. We invited speakers such as Showing Up for Real Justice, Justice to Jobs, NAACP, and some of you may be aware that following the George Floyd killing, we actually issued a joint press release with Black Women Organized for Political Action. So we've been very busy continually working on actually issuing a report that we hope to be issued very soon on policing in Sacramento. We've again engaged the Sacramento Police Department very recently within the last couple of weeks just to get some clarification on some of the issues, and so that we are able to issue a report that's fair and balanced. And so we also invited the new director of the Office of Public Safety and Accountability to meet with us as well. She was hired and came on board in June of this year. And so we wanted to be able to develop a partnership with the community and with the city so that we can bridge that gap between policing and public safety and community oriented policing in Sacramento. And so very soon, we're in the process of finalizing our policing report. But one of the things I also would mention is that, again, we thought that it was going to be sort of a slam dunk, you know, with the city of Sacramento. At least I did. I'll speak for myself. But it wasn't. It's been very, very challenging. And we found that there are a lot of areas that need to be improved. And first and foremost, we found that there were some organizational structural issues around communications, transparency, and accountability that needed to be addressed. And so we're addressing that in our report. But we thought that it was important to address whether or not the Sheriff's Department was in compliance with AB 392 and the use of force laws as well. And because of the challenges around just getting compliance with the city of Sacramento and understanding policing in Sacramento, we haven't had much time to even address what's going on with the Sheriff's Department, which we had anticipated would be even a greater challenge. And we still think that it's going to be a greater challenge. And so there are a lot of aspects of the criminal justice system that requires needs to be addressed in terms of racial equity and gender equity and whatnot. And so we have a lot of work that needs to be done. We are certainly welcoming new members to get on board to help us with this important work. Especially as we embark upon figuring out what's going on with the Sheriff's Department and trying to advocate around some much needed changes in how policing happens with the Sheriff's Department. And so I welcome, you know, anybody who's interested in getting involved in criminal justice reform to join us in that important work. And also in communicating with the community and with advocacy and education. One of the other things that we found also is that understanding about how government governance works in Sacramento has been part of the problem, I think, in addressing some of the community stakeholder involvement around policing in Sacramento, understanding the role of the mayor, the role of the city council in representing the various districts, and understanding the role of the city manager. As you all know, the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County is opposed to the strong mayor form of government. And as a part of our work around studying policing in Sacramento, we found that there is more than enough power within the mayor and city council right now to actually make a difference in terms of policing in Sacramento. The buck stops at the top, and anything that the mayor wants to achieve and the city council, it can be done right now, and there's no need for a strong mayor in Sacramento. And so looking at the existing city charter, some of the issues around budgeting in particular, our committee actually looked at that as well in terms of police department and the fire department budgets and whatnot, and all of the overtime costs that are that can be better managed for efficiency within the city of Sacramento, so that there are additional funds available for some of the other vital resources in the city that actually attribute to some of the disparities in policing in Sacramento. Of note is the fact that while there's only a 13% African-American population in Sacramento, 43% of all of the use of force incidents in Sacramento, they're with African Americans. And so that type of disparity needs to be addressed. And it needs to be addressed beyond engaging academic professionals. No disrespect to any of you all who are academians, but there's a need to really talk to the impacted communities about coming up with solutions to the issues around policing in Sacramento. And it's my hope that the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County will help bridge that gap in terms of the policing, the police department, and the community being involved together to come up with solutions to address the challenges that face our policing in Sacramento County. So if there are any questions, I don't want to keep going on and on. I don't know how to.
Thank you very much, Norma. You did a wonderful job.